Well, I forgive you.
Hi, everyone. You just caught us mid-conversation. We are a bit live. But obviously, as you will have seen on Twitter, we have just had a bit of good news in while Will's doing some weird dance in the top corner there.
Because some lads just signed a contract.
Yeah, so obviously to put an end to all the transfer speculation for a certain Jacob Greaves, it has just been confirmed by the club that he's signed a 4-year contract with the club option of a 5th. So he's going nowhere anytime soon. First reaction to that, I imagine we're all very happy. Yeah,
Good, very sensible.
Rock hard.
And then obviously, as an even better welcome bonus, we didn't even know he was coming on. We've got Joel on for the first time in God knows how long.
Our guest, yes.
Everyone say hi to Joel.
I'll probably
Hello,
got
Joel.
5
Nice to
minutes.
meet
You know
you.
what I'm like.
Right, so
Hello.
before we get started, obviously this is episode 55 of the Tull and Back podcast. We are sponsored by 6 Yards Out, your home for retro memorabilia. You can get customized phone cases, cushion covers, posters, anything like that works. Just go to www.6yardsout.com. I think they've got a 4.2 out of 5 star rating on Trustpilot, so you know you're getting something good there. And then we are also sponsored by Pearson's Bar, the place to be for your pre-post match day beers. Make sure you're on there on a match day, soak up the atmosphere, and maybe drink for commiserations or to enjoy a win. So obviously we'll talk about that news straight away then, obviously, because Jacob Greaves signing is huge news. It's a player that we obviously wanted to keep hold of and definitely did not want to lose to a championship rival, although I don't think that was ever on the cards. What do we think that's going to give the dressing room a bit more of a lift ahead of West Brom? We'll go to Joel first because we've not heard from Joel in a long time. Joel?
Yeah, I think having the vice captain re-sign, it just shows where the club's going, because over recent years we've not been able to tie down our best players. So Jacob Greaves is now a player we can say, right, he's going to be with us on our journey back to the Premier League, because we'll be in the Premier League within 5 years. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is with Greaves is he's on that similar incline to like what Bowen and KLP did, whereas every season he plays, you can see that steady improvement in him. I think the beginning of the season last year, it kind of took him. I mean, we had quite a relatively poor squad, so we were definitely under the cosh quite often. So you're going to look quite poor as a defender. But I think he was a little bit mistake-ridden at the beginning, but finished the season so strongly and assuredly, and started this season amazingly. Do we think it's a future captain in the works, Nathaniel? Do we think he's a one club man?
Well, he's already the vice captain, so I thought, as perhaps there was a debate maybe if Coyle's the captain because he's a good Hull defender, he's from Hull, then Greaves could also have been there, and yeah, hopefully he does stay for the duration of the contract up to 5 years, which I think that's really great. We've signed Fleming and Greaves down to long-term contracts. It's really good to have these young players in the team to either grow into even a better player so they can get us promoted this year or another year, but then also so we don't lose out their value, because Greaves and Fleming are going to be worth a whole lot more in a year or two time. And hopefully we could have done that with Lewis Potter as well, because I mean, just today we've seen Morgan Gibbs-White, same sort of player, same sort of level perhaps as Lewis Potter, for about 3 times the price, going to Nottingham Forest. So hopefully, yeah, I mean, regardless of whether we're selling him or he's playing for us, it's fantastic to have Greaves for at least another year, hopefully many more.
Yeah. I think it's strange. Well, it's a nice thing to say. I say it's strange. It's just something we're not used to quite often. I think one of the biggest issues with the Alams in the past was that contracts used to be left right until the last moment. So players' futures had probably already been decided by the time they got
weren't good enough either.
Contracts. And what they offered was pittance. So quite a welcome bonus that we've managed to tie down a player just at the beginning of the season, already played a couple of games kind of thing. Bit of a statement of intent, Will. Would you agree with that?
Just a bit. I mean, when you say he's going to be a future captain, do you mean Hull City or England? Because
hopefully both.
I don't know what to say. I'm like Nathaniel whenever Longman has a good game. I'm speechless. I'm so happy that my favours finally actually signed a contract. I was actually getting a little scared that he might not sign a contract because it was going so long. And
Speechless.
I think
It's a boost for everyone.
It's a massive boost for everyone, and it's a statement of intent from the owners as well. That right, we're going to give him what he wants. We know what he's worth.
I think the thing is with Greavesy is now that it's like 4 with an option of a 5th. I mean, realistically, we probably weren't going to lose him anyway because obviously we had the option next year anyway. So
probably not this summer. No.
2 years. Well, maybe the summer would have been an issue because obviously
January might have been the issue
last year. Yeah. Well, no, because you don't want to. It's similar to KLP, isn't it? Because he was in the last of his. You have that to and fro, don't you? Where you either sell the player for as much as you can get him in the summer, or you wait till his value decreases a bit 6 months down the line in January. You get that crossroads, do you sell him in summer for a bit more or lose him for a bit less later on? But the thing is with Greaves, obviously, with us having next year, we'd have definitely had him this season. I thought maybe he'd sign at the end of the year, depending on where we were, realistically, if we was challenging the top 6 or if we'd somehow faltered a bit and finished in the lower mid-table, he might then make a different decision kind of thing. But the fact that he signed at the beginning of the season, I think, says to me that he believes in what we're doing. He's seen the players that we're signing, the performances that we've got, the fans coming back, and I hope believes in what we're doing. So very, very good news. Obviously, we might as well talk about it while he's there as well. We've got Ryan Woods signed as well in the last couple of hours. A bit more championship experience, which I think is good. We've signed a lot of players from overseas that maybe they're acclimatizing quite quickly by the look of things, but one of the probably justifiable, this isn't a perfect transfer window because we don't have the necessary championship experience other than Suri Baxter and Figueiredo, if I'm right. But obviously Ryan Woods comes in. He's been in the championship for over 250 games, is it? Brings us, a bit more experience in the middle. Another good rotation option for that midfield position. I'm not going to pretend that I know loads about him. The last time I remember seeing Ryan Woods play and effectively was at Brentford, and he was very good at Brentford. Was tipped for big things when he was at Brentford. I don't think he's pulled up many trees since then.
He's essentially a clone of Stephen Quinn.
So we've got a Woody Esther.
Well, every time we get promoted, we have a red-haired midfielder because we've had Quinn, Clucas, Doherty, and now hopefully Ryan Woods in midfield. So that's a good sign.
We just need an angry Irish centre-back as well, and the band's back together.
Well, isn't McLaughlin Irish? He's blonde.
He's not angry though, is he?
He's not McShane.
No, he's not.
He's not Macca. I wouldn't go into I wouldn't receive a challenge from McLaughlin and think, he's going to try and break my legs here. McShane,
at this rate, McShane will be playing first team for Man United.
Yeah,
Huddleston will be in there. Yeah. Right. So, we'll go on to obviously the first game that we'll review, which was the Norwich game. Recently relegated team from the Premier League. Still got a lot of Premier League quality players in there. Like Sapuki, Campbell, Kieran Dowell, players like that. They've got a vast array of Premier League quality, but it doesn't seem to be clicking for them. And it started off, we could have been 2 or 3 down within the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. But we grew into it, became a bit stronger. And I think when we went 1-0 up, we didn't really look back. Is that an assessment you'd agree with, Joel? You was there?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. What we did is we just set out to frustrate Norwich, really. We sat back, took the pressure, and got forward whenever we could. And I'd say from the middle of the game was when we had the better of it. Norwich definitely had the stronger start and the stronger finish. We just had to hold out. Ingram saved us. So I think without Ingram, they would have gone 1-2, maybe even 3-0 up within the first 10 minutes. So I think we did our job. And I have a lad say, bearing in mind he's still adapting to the league, got it right. So let's hope he can keep getting it right.
I think that's Gabe Sutton asked earlier, and I think one of the things that is good about Shota at the moment, and maybe a question that we've asked as well on the pod before, is whether or not he has that tactical depth about him to be able to adapt to the team game by game in the Championship, which is so different, and still manage to get out results. But considering he's got 13, 14 players injured, and
that's it.
Yeah,
He's got the
still...
tactical depth, but he's not got the squad depth as it stands.
But I would agree that that is showing his tactical depth, because he is, like, the biggest ever criticism I had of McCann was that he wouldn't change the system to get the best out of the players he had at his disposal. He would play the same system all the time and then just hope that it worked. That reactive nature in a manager, I don't think is ever any good. Whereas Shotta, I don't know if you guys agree, I think is showing that, that switch to the 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 variation, whatever you want to call it, with Jones dropping into midfield, which, to be honest, I asked for. I'm going to take claim on that. Has worked. I think a lot of people probably would have said no, stick with the 3 at the back, but he went obviously with the 4, and since then we've beaten Norwich and taken a great point away from Burnley. Do you think that's the kind of decisions that's going to help endear him to the fans, Nathaniel? Do you think he's proving how good a manager he is at the minute?
I mean, this might be a bit controversial, and I do rate him because he's done a good job. I do feel like the change to the other formation, like McCann last season, was injury forced because Surrey was injured and he didn't want to play Cannon, so that's why Jones went into midfield. But then, that's obviously worked, and I think it's a shame really, because I haven't necessarily liked the fact that we've gone so defensive in the last 20 minutes of the last 2 games, especially against Norwich. Norwich was slightly different because we were 2-0 up, so you would do that. But then again, we don't have the players to play a different way. The new signings can't do 90 minutes yet, so you have to take Tufan off, Estepinian off, and then we get a lot weaker with the bench players that, have done a very good shift in the last 2 games, and we haven't conceded in those last minutes when we've been hanging on yet. But it's just a shame that we can't really keep going tactically the same. We've moved back to 5-4-1, which, fortunately it's worked, but he hasn't got another option. But if he stays with 4-3-3, I think that's what I thought we were going to be playing the season anyway, because that's what he did in Turkey. So I think, from the results, the last 2 results, we should stick with that. And that will endear him, because he's changed formation quicker than McCann ever did.
I think we're more likely to keep him seeing the 4-3-3 throughout the game once a lot of the injuries are, like you said, because I think the reason he changed so defensively is because of the options he had. I think if it was all the new lads were available, he'd probably stay on the course and keep trying to attack.
Yeah, at least for a little bit longer,
Isn't it funny? And obviously, you'll remember it more from those early episodes when Jordis wasn't ever appearing. Isn't it funny how we always ranted about how we wanted McCann to stop doing 4-3-3 and start playing a back 5? And now we're getting to the point where it's like, I wanted to play a 4-3-3, not a back 5.
Well, we've got the players for 4-3-3 now, haven't we? Whereas we never did.
It's just weird how it's changed in like 18 months.
Yeah, we've come full circle.
You compare Estepinian to McGuinness.
Grant McCann's currently sat somewhere outside of London just looking at us play 4-3-3 and go, what?
Oh, now they like it.
Yeah, like, why are they asking for him? But it is that obvious thing, isn't it? Where obviously McCann's options in the 4-3-3 were far less, I think, offensive than what. I'm trying to be a bit more kinder to the players that we had.
No.
A bit more quality in the side now than there was back then. And I think the best thing about this side now is it has the versatility, I think, to play many different formations depending on what we need. I mean, the thing was, he said pre-season, didn't he, that he wanted to play the three at the back system that we started the season with. And I actually disagree that this formation change was forced, because he had the personnel to remain playing 3 at the back if he wanted to. He could have put Alfie Jones in midfield and played McLaughlin in the back 3. So you've got the options there to play the 3 at the back if he wanted to. I just think he's seen the group of players he's had and gone, do you know what?
He's a genius then.
Yeah, in the Preston game, we did look quite. We didn't really offer much in terms of an offensive threat. We were very solid, like you say. We've been a bit more defensive at the beginning of the season. But then you guys know as much as any, I'm more reactionary than most. I want to see us attacking. I want to see us have chances. But when we're not having many shots, and then kind of under the cosh, you just feel like at some point, that pressure is going to tell, and we're going to be coming away from games thinking, because to me, it's, having 3 shots on target across 90 minutes is a positive if you take a draw. But then if we go 2 games on from here with the same stats, we'd be like, why are we having more shots kind of thing. So it's still a reasonable criticism, but obviously, yeah, we were against Burnley. But to me, it's that's I can understand why he's being more solid at the minute, because the big tell of Shota last season, I think, was that he made us harder to score against than McCann did. We did seem a lot more organised. We were very, in terms of defensive fashion, we pack out our box. We don't let them have much space, and we don't let them have many clear-cut chances, which I think is obviously the I've just seen the comment. Sorry, it's distracted me. I'm going to put this up now because it's ruining mid-throw. So Rich Anderson, who was doing the fundraiser for Andy's Man Club, by the way. Will someone ask Will what he thinks of the weather?
Well, it's a nice light cloud outside with a gentle breeze. It's getting a bit dark at this time of the night. I think temperatures are down to about 15 degrees, but it should be a nice night.
So for anyone that missed it, if you watch the Michael Turner episode, you'll know what he's on about. Turner had some technical difficulties right at the start of the episode.
You abandoned me, you bastard.
And I had to go and call him, so I kind of muted my mic, turned my camera off, and just left Will solo, and he tried to wing it and just ended up talking about the weather. It was quite funny. Go watch it if you haven't. It's hilarious. But yeah, like I was saying, so I think we had to be, given the opposition we've played at the beginning of the season, the home game against Bristol City, we had a lot of shots and we actually looked really, really good, barring, maybe the first 20 minutes of the game. We actually did look quite offensive threat. Yeah. And then the Preston game was quite poor, but it's away from home. So understand, I wouldn't mind us playing that way away from home, realistically.
The Burnley game, I think, was the perfect away performance, possibly.
Because we had the chances, didn't we? They just didn't have much of the ball.
Do we think then that this, where am I going with it really? So this current style then, do we think that this is going to be the way we play this season? Or do we think we're just waiting literally for all the signings to come in, all the players to come back, and then we can start seeing a bit more free-flowing, attacking, entertaining football, whatever you want to refer it to?
Hard to say. It's working at the moment, so you can't really argue with doing it.
Will change.
But I imagine we'll be more offensive when those signings arrive.
I think Preston was just a poor performance. They weren't expecting to not have that much of the ball. And then against Norwich and Burnley, the relegated teams this season have already had lots of possession because, the parachute payments, that sort of thing. They've been able to keep their squad and sign players. So that is going to happen, especially away from home against Burnley. If we play exactly like that against Coventry or in a few weeks when players are back and we have those bench options as well to keep that tactics, that system going forward later in the game. If we're still doing about 30% possession against Coventry or Rotherham or something, I think that'd be a bit worrying. Of course, you can win the league like that if you just win the games, but you don't really want to be putting your team under pressure with the other team peppering your goal for the last 20 minutes every time. So, but I think, it works as a game plan against these bigger teams perfectly well. And it has worked. We've done, 4 points from 6 is extremely, extremely good.
Yeah. Win your home games, draw your away. That's, it's
all right,
promotion form, isn't it? 4 unbeaten. Like I think I saw a stat earlier. It took us 11 games last season to get to the points total that we're at now. So
it was October 2nd, I think it was, against Middlesbrough, I think it was, when we got to that point.
So I think we won the first game, didn't we, against Preston, then didn't score for about 7 games.
Sheffield United was our next goal.
Yeah.
That was like 5 or 6 games. I think we're unbeaten in 6 at home now as well, going back to last season.
Yeah, we will be. Reading,
Forest,
Cardiff,
Swansea.
No, Swansea was January.
Cardiff think it's 5.
Cardiff.
It's 2 games this season, and it was 2 wins and a draw at the end of last season. So it's 5
Swansea
games.
at home was Shota's first game in charge because I took me to it. Yeah. Right, so we'll go back onto Norwich game then. So the things that were good, Oscar EstuWIñán, when your strikers don't get your first goal after quite a while, it's quite worrying. But he's got 2 now. He's off the mark. They weren't Thunder Bastards by any.
It was strikers' goals.
Exactly. Poacher goals.
They were very, very much poacher goals.
They were Abel Hernandez goals.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the kind of striker that we've been missing the last few years. We haven't had a striker that persistently annoys the defenders, that
Since
is in the right
Campbell,
place at
maybe.
the right time. Yeah, that kind of striker that can pick up the ugly goals that we weren't getting. And those 2 goals, I think, right place, right time, perfect kind of striker for this league. You'll get 10,
Weak
15
foot.
easy in this league with that. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on EstuWIÑán, Jolie? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I think he'll only get better as well as he grows into it a bit more. He's still learning the language, so communication might not be the greatest yet at the moment. But once he picks that up, fits into the team a bit better, gets to know the players that are already here, he'll be flying.
Yeah,
20
he's not
goals,
even made.
I could say, get this season.
Yeah, he's
It
not even
carries on.
done 90 minutes. No, he's not even done 90 minutes yet. I don't think Tufan or some others have yet. So, yeah, they're already good now, and they should get better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how Tete fits into the squad too, because he's obviously a through the middle striker, but doing fairly well out on the wing at the minute.
Well, to be fair,
I think he played a lot
for Ghana and
left wing.
stuff like that, he does play out on the wing.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fast as well, so it does suit him.
Yeah, and I was going to save it obviously for the Burnley one as well, but Ozan Tufan, another great performance. Definitely not what the Watford
Dan
fans
Gosling
told
in the
us it
mud.
was. Yeah, we'll go into more detail for him for the Burnley game, obviously, because he was superb in that one. But Alfie Jones, then. So I think probably maybe the most underrated player in the City squad at the minute. Consistently puts in at least a 7 every game, I think, no matter where he's at centre back or midfield. I think centre back he gets pulled out of position a bit too often because he's tempted to obviously press him like he does as a midfielder. But perfect for that number 6 role, I think.
To think, when I was saying before the season started, oh, we should play Jones, and you were saying McLaughlin.
Yeah, but I wanted him in midfield, which is
But
where
he's
he's playing now.
there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, innit? But you see, we've got so many now options in that midfield. When everybody's fit, look at the rotation options that we've got for pretty much every position. Especially when the new signings come in. If we get Halil Dervisoglu, whatever
Dervisoglu,
okay, and Salah, who lad me toe or whatever it's called.
Fuck's sake.
Whatever joke you want to make on that one. We've got so many more options coming in, and they've got the likes of Slater, who's been, again, another one who's been consistently brilliant since the start of the season. Alfie Jones, who can play midfield or at the back, wherever we need him. And you've got Sari, Tufan. You've just got so many more options. And I just think that eventually when the squad clicks, especially in the offensive sense, when we get all the, Aliar in that back, who's going to be a miss.
Don't forget about 50 grand.
I mentioned Slater.
I'm sorry, I'm still high off Greaves.
Pay attention.
So if we're playing 4-3-3 and title winner Seri will obviously play, won't he? And you wouldn't drop Slater or Tufan.
That's your midfield 3.
Would you? I suppose we're playing Jones over Figueiredo then.
I don't think you can, because Figueiredo's had a good start to the season. This is where it gets tricky, because everyone's having a good start.
That's a good dilemma to have.
Yeah.
But you want Figueiredo's no-nonsense. Well, that's the thing. Figueiredo's very different. He's no-nonsense experienced, and Jones is the Rolls-Royce, isn't he? So just maybe different games. If it's like a home game, you want to be on the ball, play Jones, and a tough away game where you're going to be under the cosh, you'd play Figueiredo, maybe.
Well, I just like the idea of natural rotation. The championship's a long season. We've got the cup games to come back in January, and that we're going to have injuries. We're going to have suspensions. Players are going to be a bit more leggy after games sometimes, but we've now got a decent. You want 2 good players for every position as a minimum, really. If you want, to be challenging at the higher ends of divisions and being successful, that's your format. So to me, we're pretty much there. Maybe not in the right back sense of things. Maybe Randall
hopefully soon
could play there. Kind of
long run.
because it's just we don't know about Josh Emmanuel. I'd rather him not play as a traditional right back. Maybe if we did the wing back system again, that'd be okay, but not as a right back. But yeah, it's that thing now, because people are saying, "Oh, well, you can't drop this guy, you can't drop this guy." Well, why can't you just rotate them game by game? Whoever's playing, obviously, if
having the 5 subs as well, I think, is a massive help.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you can now change the game on a massive scale
Yeah, you can change the whole system, really.
Yeah, if you're trying to hold on to a lead, or you're trying to, you're looking for a goal, you've now got so many more options now to try and look for that goal or to try and hold on to that lead. And at the minute, we've not quite got the quality coming off of the bench. I think we made the joke in the chat that the 4 that came off and the 4 that came on, the drop that we had was quite substantial. But what was it? We swapped EstuWIñán, Tete, Tufan and Aliar for Randell Williams, Malik Wilkes, Andy Cannon,
Coville,
and Vaughan Coville.
Yeah, so that is a big drop, isn't it?
Yeah, so obviously when we get our squad players coming back, it's going to be quite a handy squad. And if you think we are where we are right now, it gets you a bit more optimistic for where we could be. Have you guys sort of changed your opinions on where we could end up being this season? Have you changed your aims or your expectations yet, or are you trying to keep yourselves leveled?
Not yet.
I'll change it after 10 games. I mean, maybe I said 11th. Maybe I'm thinking 9th. But that's not much. So yeah, our squad, on paper with the new signings coming in, will be very strong. If they all play to the best of their ability. Of course, some of them might not fit into the system or have injuries or not like playing in England. But the squad, I always believed in the squad being very good. But at the moment, we're seeing no reason why they can't grow into a really strong team. But it is just too early to tell, really. But after 10 games, hopefully we continue to pick up points and we'll be more confident then.
Just a little comment for Nathaniel here. Please drink.
Well, I muted it. Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. So just keep the viewers happy, Nathaniel. We have got a question. We'll try and get that one on. So HGC after that. So what's your thoughts on Williams lately and Coville coming off the bench in most games? I think that we've just pretty much covered that one, haven't we? It's you see, I like Randell Williams. I just think in the grand scale of the squad,
I'm not below a lot of people.
Yeah,
you think
pecking order wise, I think he's quite low. What about you, Joel? What do you think about Williams, Coville, etc.? Wilkes?
Williams, I think he should be in and around the squad. Coville and Wilkes, no. I'll get on to Coville in a minute, but Malik Wilkes, why didn't we accept the bid from Sheffield Wednesday?
We might still now.
I think we should, because he's not good enough. Not anymore.
Does he look like that he wants to be here at the minute? Because I don't think he does. What did you see from him when he came off the bench, Joel?
Nothing.
I mean, he wasn't as bad as he was against Bradford.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah. He didn't really have enough opportunities to show anything on Tuesday. But I don't think it's not best for him, his career, to stay anyway.
The one chance he did get, he just levered it at the keeper from a tight angle when he should have probably tried to cross it.
Yeah,
I think that's it all.
Tufan was open on the edge of the area at that point. But Wilkes, when Burnley were on the attack, you had everyone running back, but Wilkes was just sitting on the halfway line. He wasn't defending. And we need players that will get back and put the bodies on the line.
He might have been told to do that, to be fair.
Yeah, he might have been waiting for the counter, but it has been a criticism.
Yeah, but even when the ball was near him, he was just walking.
Yeah.
What
it
about
has been
Coville,
we've criticised. Yeah, Coville. What do you think of Coville?
I don't think he's ready for first team football, personally.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go into the academy.
Yeah.
He needs to stick in the academy for at least a year. Yeah, Short has said he's a first team player. He's not a first team player yet. He needs some experience in the academy, maybe even a loan move to League One or League Two. But he should not be anywhere near our squad when everyone's fit.
Well, yeah, that's the other reason he's there, is because of the injuries.
Yeah, he's one for the future, isn't he?
He wasn't ready for a screen squad, because it wasn't like we've signed him from there and he's played 40 games for them. I think but he'll have learnt a lot from this experience, and even though he's not been amazing, hopefully this gives him some good confidence that he can get into the squad later on.
What do you think the squad value is worth now? The amount Adjan has paid out,
double.
I think you kind of get lost about how much we've actually spent.
I was going to say a lot of undisclosed fees, so we don't actually know.
Yeah, I know a few of them have been 3 or 4 million.
I think they've all been 3 or 4 million, actually.
That's what I mean.
So you could say 9 or 12. I mean, Wood's probably like 500 grand.
Yeah, because I think the deal that got us both Tufan and Sayed was about 8 million, I think it was in the end.
It's difficult because a lot of them are euros as well. The numbers we've seen, but it must be below 15 but above 10, I'd say. But then I think all the other signings we're doing from now are loans with options to buy, so I guess those don't really count. But then, and of course,
The security in those, yeah.
But then the free agent signings are never free. You have to pay their wages, but
signing on fee as well.
I think the squad volume probably has doubled because a lot of these players are. We brought in 10 players. It's going to be 14, 15 soon, and I'd say pretty much all of our signings would get into the starting 11 last season, maybe at the start of the summer, perhaps. Maybe not all, but most of them
would, definitely
not.
If we just signed the one of them and there was space for them in the starting 11, I think they probably all would.
We've definitely. I mean, you look at the squads. I mean, this is something that I've said on contributing to anything else when they've asked about signings and stuff. You look at our squad last season, the team that we had in League One into the Championship, even the end of that horrible Championship season after Bowen left. We've had when you look at it, a really thin squad. We've had a lot of academy players that have been involved in it. Obviously, a lot of them have flourished. KLP, Greaves, Fleming, etc. But we've actually had maybe only a solid starting 11. And then the backups, maybe one or two on the bench that are semi-decent. And then the rest of the squad's not really been first team standard. Yeah. So when we've released the players that we did, and then obviously sold Honeyman and KLP, we've actually left the squad very, very empty. So the fact that we've signed so many players kind of just fills that squad out. We're now where we should be as a club in terms of having a full squad that can rotate. But we've also replaced League One standard players, lower Championship standard players, with players that have got international experience that have played against, maybe even in various leagues in Europe kind of thing, Premier League, Championship themselves. We've definitely, I think, massively upgraded all of the playing personnel. I think the players that are still in the squad is just testament to how good they are, the likes of Coyle, Greaves, Slater, these kind of players that we always knew were kind of diamonds in the rough the last couple of years, but are still there in it now, and will only get better now that they're training with the likes of Siri and Tufan and Figueiredo, players like that. It's just, it's an exciting time. So yeah, with the squad, I definitely is if you were to put a price tag on many of these players, it would be multi-million for most of them, especially Greaves. Now he's on a 5-year contract.
Priceless.
Yeah,
I'll probably tell us the answer in 10 minutes. I'm going to go on Transfer Market.
Oh no, that's like
for God's sake.
It said that Jared Bowen was 2.4 million when we sold him for 20. So,
but it's a decent barometer.
It's not.
Or do you want me to work it out myself?
Just also,
come up with a number.
I wouldn't base what the people who should not be named for a good transfer fee was.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the Burnley game then. So probably I think would be the hardest away day of the season. I think Burnley are going to be up there in the top 2 by the end of the season. Made a lot of signings like us.
Scott Twine through the store from us.
Went to them instead of us. Yeah. Very possession-based style. They've got Company in there, so he's obviously channeling what he's learned from Guardiola. It's very sideways. It's very keep possession, try and work away through. Definitely a tough game, but I think like Will said, the perfect away performance, battling. Didn't really offer much in terms of a goal threat, but the few chances we had, we kind of made the most. The one-on-one with Tufan was put away spectacularly. I think it's been a while since we've had a midfielder that can break the lines out. Yeah. So you was there, Joel, weren't you? So do you want to give us a quick summary of that game? What was it like as a fan?
It was good. We've had little pieces of play during that game. It just shows what type of team we can become once we've got a bit more consistency and we've played together a bit longer. And to do that at Burnley as well, get them little passages of play there. We could go to a team like Wigan, and no offence to Wigan, but they're not Burnley, are they? So
don't say that after what they've done to
we
us.
We can go there. We can.
Yeah. Could be another 8.
Yeah, actually. They'll probably beat us. They'll beat us now, I've said that as well, won't they?
Yeah,
Maybe
thanks,
come back and
Phil.
bite
Keane will score.
me. But yeah, I think Will Keane won't score against us. I shouldn't have said that
Don't
either.
say
But
that.
yeah, I think the atmosphere, the backing of the team that our fans gave as well, it just seemed to spur them on and give them belief that they could go up against this Burnley team. And I ran out of words.
To say they had a lot of possession, did they actually? Because from what I watched and I followed, they didn't actually create that many solid chances. They had just a lot of the ball.
Made one save? There was that one on where he should have volleyed it with his left foot, hit it with his right. That was a big chance, and Rodriguez scored and had another shot. Other than that, there's like 4 openings maybe that I thought were really big.
Yeah, there was a couple of chances like Rodriguez would have, but he didn't really have a very good effort from them.
Plus, Jay Rodriguez is rubbish, so those don't really count. He scored, but I would have scored that. The tapping.
Well, it's
He's got
Portugal.
3 in the Premier League. The last 2 seasons, he had 3 goals from 9 expected goals, which is very bad.
He's definitely not as good as he used to be.
Oh yeah,
he's also a lot older than he used to be.
Then he did score.
Yeah. It was a kind of.
Burnley are doing trials at the minute, aren't they, Daniel?
Well,
I think Burnley are doing trials at the minute. Get yourself down there. Get yourself up front for him. Right.
Yeah, I could be on the bench at least. Okay. Yeah.
Wearing Longman on his back.
Ashley Barnes.
I don't think I could do that because I'm not Ryan Longman.
Yeah, it's all right. I've played as a different name before. You can do it. Maybe not in professional football. Whole league is all right, I suppose.
I thought we looked really dangerous on the ball whenever we actually had the ball, though. We didn't have as much possession, but I thought obviously they looked very sharp. Slater, especially with his dribbling, which is not something I'd seen before from him. But maybe I don't watch enough of the matches. Him on the ball was brilliant, and we did have a few chances on the break. So if those are the chances we can create with that little of the ball, hopefully we can create more when we've actually got it.
Yeah, I'll give the honours of praising our Turkish superstar to you, then, Will, because he's been,
Why? He looks like you.
I think he does. Well, all right. Yeah, I've earned it now. I've shown a picture to the missus, and she is kind of in agreement. Everybody else is more certain than me, a little bit. Yeah. But he's not. He's definitely not the player that Watford fans told us. There's no lazy. There's no lack of technical ability. He's definitely going to be one of our most important players.
I mean, to be fair to the Watford fans, they're only basing it on what they've seen, which is fair enough. When he was there, he didn't have a great time. But still, Dan Gosling looks like such a fucking mug for what he said.
Because he's not even... He played less than Tufan last year, and he has the audacity to say Tufan's got a bad attitude.
You say he played less than Tufan last year. He's only played 63 minutes this year so far.
Yeah. In a lower league. It's ridiculous.
Which means he's guaranteed to bang in from 30 yards when we play them.
Well, Tufan will score 3, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well...
What is it, Will, then? What is it that Tufan does at the minute that seems to be working for us and him?
Well, firstly, he seems to... The opposite of what he was at Watford, he seems to give a shit. He seems to be actually invested in... And I think that's partly probably due to Adjon and Shota and the Turkish connection there. Also, I read his interview earlier. I had a quick skim. He had an interview earlier with pre-match press conference, and he was on about how the squad's been so welcoming to him, particularly Louis Coyle. And I think that's helped him massively in terms of his mentality. But on the pitch, he's like, I don't know how to describe him, to be honest. He's like your Bezzy Robert Corrin, but better in the way he plays. He just seems to have sort of like he just floats around the pitch.
Yeah, his willingness to break the lines, drop into that space on the edge of their back four, is eye for a pass.
First time.
Yeah, I just think that he's very similar to Corrin in the sense that he also likes to take a pop from range. Whether or not he scores as many weldies is yet to be seen. But he definitely looks dangerous when he's shooting from range. He has got a good technique on him. I'll give him that. But I just think it's his ability to carry the ball from defense to attack at the minute, and then try and get the ball in behind. We didn't really have a midfielder other than Honeyman, who I still think didn't do it as often as he should have done. Trying to play those passes in behind for someone like EstuWIñán to run onto to try and get in on goal. And
when we've got, I'd say the quality he's got is amazing.
Oh yeah,
didn't have anybody like EstuWIñán last year either. He was slipping the ball through to McGuinness and Eves and players like that.
Well, I am not having this Tom Eves slander.
Well,
he's like Darwin Núñez, but better.
He's not the sort of player you can get it along the ground to and in behind like EstuWIñán, though. Because EstuWIñán's been in behind shooting more than Eves ever did in 3 years.
What about Haaland?
It's just a different sort of.
Eves?
And you say I'm deluded for liking Longman.
Are you fucking serious, Nathaniel? Jesus.
But so Tufan, I think, is going to be one of the most important players for us this season. I think if he can continue at the vein he's on, where he's creating chances, scoring goals, breaking the lines, causing issues, pulling defenders out of position as well, so that the likes of when they're all fit again, the likes of Aliata running behind and get on and create problems. It's going to be. We're definitely going to see more chances created per game than what we're seeing at the minute. But I want to also talk about Matt Ingram, because I even at the beginning of the season, I would have preferred to have had Baxter in goal if I had the choice of the two. But this season, he has been absolutely phenomenal. I think I put a tweet out on the pod account earlier with some stats, and he's making an average about 5.8 saves a game, which is the highest in the league at the minute, which obviously says we're facing a lot of shots, possibly, but his shot to save percentage is very high. He seems to be, I would say, in the best form of his Hull City career. Is that something you'd agree with, Joel?
Yeah, 100%. He's probably one of, if not the most undroppable player in that team at the minute. He's saved us points already, and we're only 4 games in. Just from his shot stopping, his distribution. I mean, he's kicked the ball straight out a couple of times, but he's never been brilliant at distribution anyway. That's what Baxter's better at. So maybe as the season goes on and we're trying to play more offensively, Baxter would be the one to go in, because Baxter can stop a shot just as good as Ingram, but his distribution's a lot better. So when we've got the likes of Sinek, Aliyah, even Adama Traore when he eventually signs, when we've got them type of players on the pitch, having Baxter in goal will probably be better. But at this moment in time, with the players we've got available, you can't drop Ingram.
Is there a sense of maybe that he's a bit revitalised? Because I can kind of see that under, obviously, last season it was a bit of unsurety, new regime. Where's this going to go? Some players maybe not wanting to be part of that, whereas some do. Maybe a bit of a disbanded dressing room thing towards the end. But beginning of this season, it seems like the fans are back together, the club's back together. Owners in the pub with the fans before the game.
And he's got
new signings are all bedding in. Louis Coyle's taking 2 Phantom Marina for an Ask Italian. You've got all of the players seem to be together and in the same direction. And I think maybe Ingram now, after signing that contract and committing to it, it's maybe got a bit of relief, thinking this was definitely the right decision. I want to be here for this. This club's going places, and that there is automatically, sort of spared on his performance an extra couple of gears. Probably maybe the same for the likes of Coyle. Will, would you agree? Louis Coyle, again, another maybe underrated player that's been fantastic this season, not really put a foot wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I think giving him the captaincy has done him the world of good, quite frankly. And because he doesn't leave anything on the pitch, does he? He gives everything every single game, and I think he enjoys being the leader more than. He feels like a better fit as captain than Smallwood did. And I thought Smallwood was a good captain, to be fair. But I feel Coyle, because he's the hometown lad as well, adds an extra dimension to it. And I feel like this sounds a little bit. I feel like what's happened with his dad has probably pushed him on further a bit as well.
Yeah, a bit of sentimentality in his performance.
Yeah.
All the interviews he's done, he comes across really well, really determined. And I think, his dad obviously has had a huge part of his life. And, seemingly that family's got a fantastic attitude. If, all those brothers are amazing sports people, in boxing, and I think Kyle's younger brother is also a footballer at some academy, maybe. So
he is, yes.
Oh, is he? Right. Well, yeah. So obviously, they've got the right attitude there, and I think he's passing that on. His dad's legacy is going to live on through Louis, and he's the captain. He's going to be telling these people, yeah, what you said earlier about Tufan. And I think EstuWIñán might have said the same earlier as well. That Cole's been important in helping him settle in. So yeah, I think it's brilliant. And I think one thing I was going to mention about Ingram earlier was just that last season he was the starting goalkeeper, and then maybe with that surprise that Baxter came in above them, even though he's playing well. He knows that Baxter's there waiting for him, and he's got that competition. So I think that's pushed him on now, and he's hoping this because Baxter's injured. If he plays well, then he'll stay as the starting goalkeeper, even with Baxter back.
I think Ingram and Baxter push each other and make each other better, easy.
And they
definitely do.
They
I
like each other
can't
too.
argue with either of them being in the squad.
Yeah, I think Baxter said it himself. He said that they've both got a really good relationship. They have a good laugh on the training ground and stuff, and they both know full well that the other one could quite easily be the number one goalkeeper, if, any different moment kind of thing. And so that then automatically pushes themselves up another couple of gears because they want to be the one that's chosen every week, and that's only a good thing because it's very rare you have two goalkeepers of similar ability like that. Because you could argue at the minute he could be a little bit complacent because there is no Baxter because he's injured. There's only Lowe, Tatala, and Robson, I think, in there at the minute that we could call upon if it wasn't Ingram. So
Baxter's
on the bench.
For the Burnley game.
Is he? Is he back?
Yeah, he was back for the Burnley game.
Oh, that's interesting then. So he might.
Hadn't noticed that. That's good.
Yeah, so obviously, Baxter coming back is very good. You've got a few of them coming back, I think, haven't we? So we'll look at the season so far then. So we're 8 points from 12. We are unbeaten in 4, which the last time that happened was January last season, was it?
When
when McCann left and Shota came in.
It'll be McCann's
Yeah, no, that run where we beat Burnley, Bournemouth, Swansea.
Well, we won 3 in a row, but we didn't win the next one. So it would have been the 6th game unbeaten run in November when we changed formation, I think.
Yeah. Very solid start to the season then. Do we think, would you expect in this point haul from the games, Nathaniel?
Well, no. I mean, I thought, 4 points from 6 out of the first 2 games was, achievable without all the injuries we had because I was confident in the squad. But then I thought, with the injuries, looking at it just before the Bristol game, I thought we probably wouldn't get anything from Norwich or Burnley. But, to be second at this point, obviously we're only 4 games in, but some teams who are pushing for promotion aren't second, obviously. So we're doing better than them now. And the thing is to keep going as you are. We've set down a huge benchmark. I think, those 2 games against Norwich and Burnley, even though perhaps not been the best performances in the league, those are obviously the 2 standout sort of, or at least the Norwich win as well, standout sort of benchmark performances any team has laid down. So other teams will start to take notice now, which is a shame perhaps because they might play better against us. But yeah, I would have taken 4 points from 4. 8 points is just fantastic, and long may it continue.
Definitely giving us a good solid base to end this. Rather, what we assumed was it is a tough run of fixtures still, isn't it? We were definitely battling in those games, but if we come out of even the next set of games with between 10-15 points, I think that's been an amazing start to the season. And obviously that brings us up to who we've got next, and that's West Brom away. Not started the season very well, obviously. Former Tigers manager Brucey, not had the best few years of his career, has he? Given Newcastle and then on to West Brom, who are also struggling, are yet to win this season. We all see the kind of thing is I think we could be quite confident going into the West Brom game away, but
which means we'll lose.
A slight City tendency to give points to those who desperately need it is lingering in the background for me.
Oh yeah,
it would be very typical of us to be the first team for West Brom to beat, probably like 3-0.
It has typical City written all over it.
Yeah, it could be one of those games. You're going to it, Joel. What are you expecting?
It's going to be a lot harder than I think a lot of us are thinking, because the squad that West Brom have got, they're well capable of being up there. So all it's got to take is one match, click, and that's it. They're going. So let's just hope it's not against us. I'd take a point. 100%. I'd take a point right now if we got offered. But we do have the ability to get all three, but we can't be too overconfident with it.
I mean, I'd love to be sentimental and give Steve Bruce a nice lift, but I honestly hope we make a situation even worse. Sorry,
West
Bruce.
Brom
It would be 4-0. Don't care if it's Bruce or not.
West Brom fans probably want us to win too, because I think the majority of their fan base want him gone. And if he beats us, it probably saves his job. I think if we beat him, it probably is the end of his job, I would imagine. That would be quite... Yeah, but it's given last season.
They'll have a lot of the ball again. It'll be very similar to the Burnley-Norwich games, I think. So I'm going to predict another draw, which I'd take. But I do think it'll be difficult. But another draw could be a good thing. And we're missing Aliar, but hopefully we've still got enough to create on the counter attack. And I mean, in a way, I know everyone will hate this because I love Aliar and I think he's great, but we've not yet seen his end product really. So I guess we're not going to miss his, goal threat, which is one thing. But hopefully Williams has still got that same energy. I think it'll be it will be tough.
Yeah, I mean,
I
think the thing is with Aliar is he's played so many different positions for us since signing that he's probably not actually gotten into his full groove yet, because he still is not aware what role he's got in his.
He's played striker with no service, then he's played left wing back, which is left wing back, and now he's only had 2 games at right wing where we've had 30% possession. So
so we're still yet to see the best of him, and I do think hopefully quick recovery for him when he comes back. He's just as good. Anyone watching, by the way, we have got 14 live viewers, so if any of you want to stick your score predictions on too, feel free, because we can stick your comments up on the screen. Have you seen what you think we can get from West Brom? The team selection I think is going to be a tough one, because the options that we've got to come in. Isn't Longman available? Did I see a tweet saying Longman's back?
Shotter will have a look to see how fit he is, but I don't think he'll be starting. I think he'll be fit playing for Coventry.
So realistically, as we know, so going off the Burnley game, with Aliar coming off injured, you realistically only going to play either Williams or Wilkes there.
Williams then.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a unanimous
pick. We can't start Wilkes. Williams and Aliar are more similar. Wilkes is more of a kind of inverted winger.
From what I saw of Randell Williams before he got injured when he came into the squad last season, he looked pretty decent. And I think he's just had one of those Hull City careers that's happened all too often lately, where it's just blighted by injury. And we've probably not seen what he can actually offer us. And if he gets a good run of games, you don't know, you might actually see somebody that's actually going to, compete for some of those positions.
He won't get a good run.
No, he won't get a good run. It's unlikely. But it's one of those things where he's got a chance. He's got to take it, and which was why I was so annoyed at the Bradford game, is that you're playing the squad players that realistically aren't going to be starting games, but in those games you should be putting absolutely everything on the plate and giving your manager something to think about in the league games. Going, actually, do you know what? He's pretty decent. Some of the performances that we've seen, it's just like, they're happy being in the role that they're in. But I do think that Randell Williams is one of those players who still, even though in those games, does try and give his best. So we've got a couple of score predictions, actually. 2-1 City. Another win would be absolutely fantastic. Got one from Ian 0-0.
That's very reasonable, I'd say.
Another clean sheet would take that. Joel doesn't want to see that on his travels. Gabe Ramirez, 1-0 City. EstuWIñán, it would be nice for him to get another. I think he's actually like 3rd in the league for goal contributions at the minute, because he's got 2 goals and an assist. I'm sure I saw on FootMob he's 3rd. considering like we've not seen the best of him yet, and he's contributing goals on at all angles. So team predictions then. There's probably not much that we can actually say.
Well, I guess the only thing is
one change.
Woods or maybe Salah. We have not talked about Salah. Should we talk about Salah?
He's not officially signed yet.
Yes, but that he's having a medical today though, so that will probably.
I don't think he'll be starting though if he does get in the squad.
No.
But he's not signed.
I think you'll have the one change, and it'll be Aliar out for Randall Williams.
Does anyone want to try saying his full name?
I'll have to get it back.
That's a no.
Salah, Boulad, and Hand.
Well, I'm confused as to the order. His second name is definitely Salah Adine. I don't know. It's Salah, the Arsenal number 10. And looking at YouTube, it looks like an exciting player, but that's just YouTube. But I think the main compliment why we should be excited is because Arteta didn't want him to go, and he's been on the bench 9 times for Arsenal. And even though he's not played, you don't go on the bench for a big Premier League club if they don't, if they don't want you to be playing, then you wouldn't. And exactly, Arsenal fans are very upset that he's gone with an option to buy. So I think it could be good business. But then again, I was going to say, when you were mentioning that we have 5 subs allowed, we're going to need that because the amount of attacking players we have, not a lot of them are going to be very upset they're not playing if we only have the 3 subs. So, rotation is going to be very exciting, and I think he'll add to that.
Yeah, I mean, so what was all your feelings then when you first read that article? Because for me, it was a little bit underwhelming because this kind of you get a few names pop into your head when you think mystery number 10 from the Premier League kind of thing.
Mount
I just personally didn't. Well, maybe not quite to that scale, but maybe a Jamal Lowe or somebody like that. But the thing is, he's a youngster that nobody realistically knew anything about. But like we say, the reaction from the Arsenal fans kind of suggests that we've pulled off kind of a coup here. And the fact that they've worked on it for months suggests to me that Adjan knows how good this lad's going to be. And
it's underwhelming by himself.
It's come from our Dutch lad, what's he called? Our Dutch assistant manager.
Van der Veen.
He's
Van der Veen.
Dutch.
Van der Heck.
Well, it's come because he is Dutch.
Yeah.
And he's worked with him before. So I think it's come through him.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, because the Arsenal fans were saying they expected him to go on loan to Holland. And so probably sounds like you're on the right path there, Will.
I think it's underwhelming if he was the only attacking player we're bringing in. But him, Pelkas, and Dervisholo, if we did get all 3, as a combination, that's much more exciting.
Yeah. I mean, the potential, the thing is, this lad could be one of those really young players that comes down to the Championship, kind of sets it alight, and is worth 20-30 million in a couple of seasons, kind of thing.
45, like Morgan Gibbs-White, yeah.
Yeah, because he's only 18. So if he's as good as the Arsenal fans are kind of making out at the minute, and he can get into the swing of quite a physical and demanding Championship, then it definitely will be a worthy investment. It just depends how much we're paying for him.
You're hoping he's like a Harry Wilson, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, because he'd never played professional football before, and he came in and he was immediately, he sort of put Bowen on the bench, that he was that good.
It's mental to think at one point we had both Harry Wilson and Jared Bowen on the wings.
Yeah, but we didn't, because Bowen, that second half of the season, didn't really do very well. It was Grzycki and Wilson, really, which was even more amazing. But yeah,
I remember that 4-3 against Norwich. That 4-3 against Norwich, it was Bowen, Grzycki and Wilson played, and James Maddison was playing for Norwich.
Goals everywhere. But yeah, like we say, we've got these signings coming in. It's going to be more rotation in an attacking sense. I just thought that the initial, with it being touted for so long as this mystery number 10 Premier League player, would have been maybe more, a more established name. But like we say, if it's an investment for the future, then let's come back up again. Then it's something worth doing, because we have got quite a young squad. I think we've got I think it's the second youngest squad in the league, average age of 24 years old.
Yeah, and Blackburn, I think it is.
And it was lower than Blackburn before we sent Smith and Cartwright out on loan, which then rose it a bit. Because
if we sign Salah and Dervishoglu, they're young. Maybe in Ngakia, he's young.
Yeah,
So that'll bring it
Pelkas will
down
put
again.
it back up then as well.
He's 28,
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about the Ngakia.
Well, that's still happening.
Quieted down a bit, doesn't it?
Or not, yeah.
Well, I think
I
we've...
hope it happens.
because we are a bit light on the
right
right-hand side, aren't we?
Because you need two good players in each position. We just have one.
Emmanuel. I don't know what's happening with Emmanuel.
I'm just assuming
doesn't
he's
seem
not
like
going to
he'd be
play
fit,
again. But we just don't know. If they've been more if
don't
they
know
told
why
us
he's out.
if Shota just said, "Oh yeah, he's out for the moment, but he'll be back in a few months," okay. But we don't know that yet. I don't even think they know.
It's an odd one.
Hopefully he's back because
I think it's more odd that there's been pictures of him training since like towards the end of last season. He was on an exercise bike and then he's been pictured in training gear running with all the lads in pre-season and stuff, but he just hasn't been involved in a footballing sense. So it is quite an odd one. I imagine they'll communicate something towards us when the time's right, kind of thing. So it's obviously something that he's either expressed himself or family or something have said that they don't really want to get out there. But it is definitely an odd one, and it is a big miss, I think, because Emmanuel's very, very good. I think we missed him last season, definitely towards the end. When Longman's form fell off a cliff, we could have done with him in the wing back position. But speedy recovery to him. Hope he's back soon. But we definitely need cover in that sense until he is back. In my opinion, maybe another centre half, or are we being a bit too greedy?
I think we're all right defensively now.
Yeah.
No, we need another centre half because if we do need to go back to a back three, then we've only got 4 centre halves. One injury and we're stuck with the same back line. We need just one more.
Could always recall Andy Smith.
Yeah.
Now we need someone more experienced.
Yeah, the problem is if you want someone more experienced, they'll want to play regularly.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Not necessarily.
Because the thing is, isn't it? You've got McLaughlin, who was very, very good last season. If you signed Figueiredo, who I absolutely love, his no nonsense approach to the game. A couple of slips against Burnley, which was quite funny. It wouldn't have been funny if we conceded from him, obviously. But Greaves, who's phenomenal. Greaves, who's phenomenal, and then Alfie Jones, who can play there as well. If you bring in another player who's first 11 standard, then you've got 4.
Who's going to sign as a fifth defensive, a fifth centre back when you're already playing in a 4 at the back? I don't know whether
you'd need to sign a younger one, but we've already got that and we sent him out on loan. So I reckon Andy Smith's
I think it makes more sense to use younger player personally.
Yeah, I think Smith's been sent out on loan to play while he can, and then if we need him, we can recall him. Can't we? He's only across the bridge, probably still living in Hull, travelling over. But
or alternatively, that
Paul McShane, yes. Or United.
Where is he now? And he retired.
Manchester United.
He's not United anymore, I don't think.
Oh,
I think
Huddleston's taken his position.
I
think Huddleston took his position.
Was that under 23s, but wasn't Huddleston like under 21s? It's very complicated.
Bring Bernard back.
Bernard's not anywhere. So it's
Bernard surprised me because I thought another championship club would definitely have gone in for Bernard. I know West Ham were on about maybe going in for him permanently, but that obviously is never.
I guess it's probably just something like United are so bad that they think they might need him.
They might need him. They went and signed a 4'9" centre back and play him instead of Varane, but
Yeah, and had him Ben Mee.
Madness.
To be fair, there is still a couple of weeks of the transfer. He might still go out somewhere, to be fair to Bernard.
Probably. Because these loan ones do tend to be kind of later in when that squad is more settled and you're willing to let people out.
Yeah, pretty much agreed with all of us. But Joel on that one. Joel, you're in the minority, mate. I
think we probably need one. I just don't think it'll happen.
No, I mean you could. The only realistic signing we could make is another loan signing like Bernard, who is maybe a bit younger and just wanting to get a bit of experience. It's okay playing, a bit part squad player, maybe jumping in the cup games kind of thing. But with the amount of players that we're signing, we're probably not even putting that much effort into something like that. Our biggest problem last season was scoring goals, and that's what we've invested our time and effort into doing, is signing all these attacking players.
So.
You know, our defense last season wasn't really the issue. We were actually quite good defensively if you look at the goals conceded. If we'd have scored maybe one more goal in some of the games, we'd have been safely mid-table. We just didn't have a goal scorer other than KLP, who played left wing back for most of the season and still got 12 goals. So, you know, if we'd have had a striker who could get 10 to 15 goals last season, we wouldn't have even been talking about relegation, which is the most exciting thing about this season, that we've actually got goal scorers. We've got creative, much more than just Honeyman who can create goals.
I'll put my life on the line here, and I will predict, only 4 games in, Hull are not going to get relegated this season.
Controversial.
So Joby McAnuff, maybe he's listening and he's, you know, just switched off, but yeah, I think we'll be fine.
That's far too optimistic for a Hull City fan base there, Nathaniel.
Okay, we're not going to finish bottom.
That's more like it.
Can I actually say, in terms of the fan base this season, I mean, I've only been to the Bristol City home game, but I've heard and I've seen all the pictures and the videos. I just think the life on the terraces at the minute, I mean, I'm dying to get back to another game. I just want to be there again. And I think Joe Palmer on Twitter earlier put something about he was on his own, so he wanted to go to West Brom with somebody. I was going to go, then realised I was at work, which I'm good about. But everyone's got that bug again. They want to be back in the stands. Everyone wants to attend games, which is just, you know, the polar opposite to the last few years. It's that, and that energy that, you know, the kids are back in the stands again. You know, the concourses are full. It takes an hour to get a beer. It's back. You know, the life.
West Upper Stand for Sheffield.
Yeah, the
United.
West Upper is open against Sheffield United, which will please about 10 people on Twitter.
Let's sell that one out.
Yeah, we need to, because Sheffield United will be like Forest, won't they? They'll be trying to get tickets in our end. Hopefully, a bit of revenge in that game. And hopefully we don't have Malik Wilkes marking, was it John Egan last time? Scoring 2 goals from the corner. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up everything we spoke about. Norwich, Burnley, coming up to West Brom. A few more signings that we're expecting to sign that we mentioned, obviously. Woods signing today, and Jacob Greaves extending his contract.
There is one last thing. There's one last thing I want to say. Nigel Pearson. Right, mate. Everyone has to listen to shit refs in this league, not just Bristol City. Stop acting like it's just you.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
If you want to quit, fucking quit.
Yeah, officiating is rubbish, but it's even more worrying that we knew that it was terrible against Bristol City. The referee was awful. It's even more worrying that the one decision they did get right, which was our penalty, they've now changed their minds and thought that's not a penalty anymore. So,
I'd like to know where these 2 penalties apparently Bristol should have had came from.
Maybe damn ball or something, but it's just, I don't know. There's nothing obvious, was there?
I mean, there was 2 other penalty shoots I remember in the game. One of them being Greaves getting hacked down and Oscar getting pushed over.
Yeah. But the standard of officiating in this league has been
it's wank.
Absolutely dreadful. But for every
bin juice.
The weird thing about Pearson and his little rant is that he seems to think it's directed at him and it's personal. I don't think had a single decent ref this season, and there was a few questionable moments last season. That was very. I just think the standard of officiating in the Championship at the minute is just dire. But given how bad the refs are at the minute, would you rather it stay the way it is, or would you take VAR?
No, because VAR is just given to those same shit refs.
VAR just takes longer to get to an even worse decision because they've been able to look at it and they still get it wrong.
It's better without VAR as football. I've been to a Premier League game when VAR it's not as fun.
I would rather them get the decision wrong and not have VAR to fuck over than have VAR, still get the decision wrong.
And it kills the atmosphere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes away the energy of goal scoring. It every challenge is sort of.
What I should do is try and keep track of whether or not VAR would help us this season, because I think at the moment, I don't know. It depends maybe whether our goal or the goals last night were offside or not. But I think at the moment with VAR, we'd be okay, because that if the penalty for us was given, they wouldn't overturn that. So VAR, I think, would probably keep that penalty.
And even if they overturned the Tetty one, they'd have probably given one of the other ones.
Possibly. Yeah.
So I think the Greaves one was the worst of the three.
Nathaniel's you want to ask on that one, Nathaniel, when you're planning on doing your preview show?
Well, I mean, I've messaged a West Brom podcast and they've not replied. So unless I do one tomorrow, there won't be one.
Oh dear.
I'm busy on Saturday.
For a fan.
Well, I can find another one. It's just that you don't want to find two and then they both come back and say, oh, can we do a preview thing? Because then I'll say no to one of them.
Because in midweek games, it kind of makes it real awkward as well.
Yeah, you can expect one a week, whether that's the Tuesday or the Saturday game.
Yeah, it's tough to keep when you do Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. It's tough to obviously do
I'm tired,
preview show, normal episode, preview show. There's too much to do.
These players aren't wrong. It is tough doing Saturday, Tuesday. I can't keep up.
And Nathaniel did the Are you still in Wales? You are, right? Yeah, he's on holiday.
I'm in Wales.
He's still committed.
Would you like to see Anglesey out the window?
I'm all right.
He's done the preview show and tonight's episode and gone on a Burnley podcast, didn't you? All while still in Wales.
Anglesey.
Those audio listeners are loving that one.
There.
For the audio listeners, Nathaniel's opened a window and there's nothing there.
Yes. How dare you?
Don't think the ref was too bad for Ian.
It was probably better than most of them this season.
It was the best one yet, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, that pretty much covers everything then. A few things for me to round up before we finish. Obviously, Rich Anderson commented earlier about Will's little moment on the Michael Turner episode. He does the ride to Hornsey and back in 3 days. He's raised 354 quid so far for Andy's Man Club, which is obviously our chosen charity too. So if you want to contribute to that, head over to our Twitter or Facebook. We've tagged him in them posts, so you can just get in touch with him there to donate if you want to. He'll be doing that in our podcast away shirt, which we donated to him with the obviously hashtag Andy's Man Club on the front. The Amber Circle Facebook group, a nice way to actually chat about City on Facebook. So definitely get yourselves in there if you can do. We've got obviously if you're not already joined, we've got the fantasy football for both the Championship and the Premier League. It's the Premier League app, not the Sky Sports one, for the Premier League one, by the way. And then Gaffer, if you've not seen, I'll do another post either tonight or tomorrow for the Gaffer one if you've not already joined it, because I didn't even know about it myself until a few weeks ago, but it's the Championship fantasy football. It's quite decent. So you can join our leagues on that one, get in, take part, obviously try and beat all of us. I don't think I'm doing very well in the Premier League one. I've not checked lately, although I think I did jump up a bit. Will's up in the top two, I think, sat all high and mighty up there.
No, I'm fourth.
Oh, is he fourth now? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Top four of the league is gutted.
I'll take top four. I'm normally wank at these things.
Well, enjoy it while it lasts. Welcome, coming for you. And then we've obviously got sponsored by 6 Yards Out and Pearson's Bar. And then obviously check out the link tree for the podcast shirts for all of the groups, for all of our sponsor websites, everything like that. Give them a visit. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining me, Will, Nathaniel, and for a rarity, Joel. It's nice for you to last a full episode.
See you in 6 months.
Yeah. Enjoy Joel's appearance while it lasts, because he won't be here again for a while. But cheers everybody
Merry
for
Christmas,
joining in. Yeah. Cheers everybody for joining in that commented as well, and all our viewers, you are appreciated. We've just hit over 250 subscribers. I think we're nearly at 260 already, so we are flying up. Keep those subscribers coming in, and all our audio listeners too, you are appreciated, don't worry. But cheers guys, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.